Hey guys, before we start this episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. The first 10 minutes or so of this episode, we kind of had some issues with my mic. The gain on the mic was turned way too high. So I tried to do as much as I could afterwards to kind of edit that as best I could. So for the first 10 minutes, I kind of sound like an air traffic control officer. If that bugs you that much more than my regular voice already does, then you can skip ahead. But otherwise, thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers. And so that's what I think about quantum mechanics.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
All right, this is episode 2 of Petty Talk.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I'm your host, Simon Petty. This is your other host, Alexander Petty. I'm so glad we got the first one out of the way. It kind of felt like a first date, if I'm being honest. I mean, I was all nervous. I didn't know what to do, what to say. And now I feel like it's just like a 2 years into the relationship, you know? We're just phoning it in. And we're like, all the
effort is gone.
the sights and the sounds, all that stuff just comes out. And yeah, there always has to be a first episode. But in like a lot of things in life, the first time you do something, sometimes it gets a little strange.
We're drinking tea.
Ugh,
Simon is doing what they call sober October.
I am. I what did you say this was? It was
This
chai.
is chai tea.
It's nice. We'll talk about sober October in a little bit, but yeah. So we have some exciting news. First off, our Instagram page has grown by 5,600%. So first off, it had me, and then now we have 56 other people following our Instagram.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's over 5,000% more than we had. So yeah, we have some dank memes posted daily from the meme farm. We harvest them when they're ripe and ready for the picking.
What's the account?
Petty Talk show, Petty Talk.
On Instagram?
Mm-hmm. So all the great memes are the ones I post, and then if you don't like any of them, those are the ones Alex is in charge of. So we're going right into questions because we actually got questions this time. Good questions. And so we're going to launch right into that. By the way, if you do have any questions, you don't have to email us because I know we deal with a lot of millennial listeners, and they don't always like to email. But post a comment below if you're listening on if you're on YouTube. But if you're not, by the way, we're up on the iTunes store, so we're awesome, and we have
The Apple Podcast?
the Apple Podcast iTunes. This is just run by two old men.
Which, speaking of which, I listened to my first podcast the other day.
Oh my gosh. The first one being the one he's on. I had no idea when I asked Alex to do this with me that he had never listened to a podcast at all.
It just didn't appeal to me. I was telling the other Alex, I said, I don't want to sit and listen to two idiots just talking. And I was like, oh wait, that's us. But yeah, it just the format never appealed to me. So I never got around to listening to any.
Which blows my mind because that's just about all I listen to.
What do you like about them?
Well, I started listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, I think, because there was he'd have a lot of really interesting experts on there. So we have a physicist on there talking about physicist stuff, or he'd have like a UFC fighter, comedian. Most of the times they were like experts in something, and so it was like really cool to learn. But anyways, we're getting right into the questions today.
Oh, sorry.
It's not going by the format of the show, but there you go. Okay, so we got some questions. This first one is from it's from Alex, but not this Alex. This is Alex from Birdville High.
Wait, are we keeping it? Does this need to be kept anonymous, or did they own up to
No,
it?
he's a good kid, a really good student.
Is this the trumpet player?
This is the trumpet player. By the way, we do have quite a few little fans from Birdville High, most of them being trumpet players. So shout out to y'all. Keep listening to this podcast, and we'll teach you how to be a man.
May the spirit of John Williams be with you, trumpet players.
And Dvorak. All right, so question number 1 is from Alex from Birdville High. Why is Simon bald? Is he sick or something?
Oh, no!
Oh, no, I'm coughing.
It's a sign.
All right. That's, You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of teaching him an E major scale over and over and over and over again.
Shots fired, Alex.
I'm
You
sick
better
of
get
how
on the ball.
tall he is, too.
Yeah, but Alex, he could take you.
I think he could. You know what? I hope.
No, you could take him.
Oh, you think so?
Yes.
I don't know, man. He's lanky. I'd have to really get in there.
He's got the reach. It's like that Street Fighter character with the long reach.
Oh, the really racist one. The guy who does
Dharma or Duma? I can't
yeah, the
remember
guy
his
who
name.
does yoga and then for some reason can shoot
Fireballs.
because he does a lot of yoga.
Oh, he's stretched out. Okay, see, I get it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I hope Alex. I hope they do a chair test and they put him in the last chair. Not even. I hope he's the last chair, but then they add like 2 or 3 extra chairs and then make him sit on the very last row.
Ouch.
So no, I don't think I'm sick. I'm sick with it. But no, I don't think I'm sick.
He's just a mean, bad dude. Like Jason Statham or Jean-Luc Picard. All the capable, strong, intelligent men out there are aerodynamic.
Follically impaired? All right, we're moving on. Let's hopefully. Okay, so this is Heather. All right. Do either of you watch comedy shows? If so, who is your biggest influence? And I think I can. This, as long as you're listening, you'll figure out that there's no one in the world that's more like me than Alex, because we grew up together. We've done so many things together. On the other hand, there's no one in the world that's the exact opposite of me than Alex.
Well, let me tell you, Miss Heather, wherever you are out there,
Because I think his answer is going to be shorter than mine.
I hate. Well, actually, let's go. Let's go through.
How aggressive!
First of all, let's talk about some formats. First of all, I learned
Because comedy shows a little vague. I don't know if she's talking about funny movies or comedy
so
specials.
here, let's go through a few
Sure.
things. First of all, you have horror comedy, and I watched one time. I'm sorry for all of you old school fans out there. I love the old school stuff, Super Nintendo, whatever you want to say, all the way. Oh, go 80s, go 90s, whatever. However, I watched The Gremlins. I think I got like halfway through it. It's a horror comedy, and the funny thing about horror comedies is they're neither scary nor funny. And that's the only thing funny about them. So horror comedy is out. Then there's the romantic comedy. And I think we all know how much that genre struggles. Even if you like it, even if you're like, oh, I really love this, you will admit, okay, yeah, there's some improbable things that happen in this genre, moving on, etc. Stand-up comedy. Oh my gosh. I loathe stand-up comedy. I've watched 2 stand-up comedy shows in my entire life.
like specials.
Yeah.
Okay.
One was on a trip with people, and I had fun, but I think it was because everyone was like laughing. The other one is kind of a coincidence thing, but stand-up comedy is so, they're standing up there and they're going, "What is it with traffic, you know?" And then they kind of pause. You know, you're driving along, you know, you got your hand on your steering wheel, like they're describing some situation. And the people will laugh anyways because they've had like 3 or 4 drinks.
That helps.
So it's not even comedy to me at that point. I don't know. So
Okay,
unfortunately,
I thought my answer was going to be longer than it is.
I
No, go ahead. You're
I
doing great.
know. I love it. It's unfortunate because I love to laugh, but I think also, I don't know. Maybe I analyze it too much. But, on that note, comedians that I like or that stand out.
Do you know any comedians?
No, I don't know any modern day comedians. No, I don't.
Are you like Charlie Chaplin?
I was just about to mention him.
Really?
My kid. So I teach about 40 private piano lessons a week, and I'll teach kids one of the songs that they do in the curriculum is silent movie music. And I tell them about this scenario 100 years ago where there was no sound in movies. This fascinates them. And I'll pull up a short, like 2-minute scene of Charlie Chaplin from the circus where he gets locked in the lion's cage. And it's not like I'm watching Charlie Chaplin every day of the week or anything because I haven't seen any of his stuff in years. It's just such a testament when 100 years later, your stuff is still humorous. It's really, really fascinating and interesting to me. And he came back over to America in like the 60s or 70s when he was an old man to get his Oscar like Lifetime Achievement Award. And in the video of it, people stand up and clap and everything, and then he starts giving his speech and he's like, "Oh wow, thank you," and everything. They had to edit it out because it was so long. All the actors there for the Oscars, whatever, and actresses, they're standing and clapping for like a full 15 minutes. Standing ovation for full 15 minutes. 1 minute goes by.
That would
3
just make
minutes
me
go
mad.
by. That would make you mad. 7 minutes go by. And because they knew, of course, what a pioneer and genius he was. And I don't know.
You think they were just making up for how silent his films were?
Oh. He directed, he acted, he composed the music, I believe.
Yes,
he was
he
a
did.
composer. I mean, golly, what can you say? But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like the only comedian I can think of recently. And then I will say, I don't know. This sounds so awful. But one of my favorite memories, or a nice memory I have of, is reading Canterbury Tales to Sarah. There's a really, I think his name was Nevin Coghill. He put out a really good translation of this. Don't try and read it in the Old English because you'll be so caught up. But get that translation, Penguin Classic. I think it's Nevin Coghill. There's a really hilarious story. Wife of Bath. That's all I'm saying. Really hilarious stuff. And then one final note on humor. Scatological humor.
What?
Scatological humor. Humor involving farts and fecal matter.
Do you find that funny?
Not particularly, but I bring it up because people think it was invented like in 2001 with Shrek, which, spoiler alert, 2001 was almost 20 years ago. Go. Wow. Anyway, people have been doing fart jokes for like thousands of years.
Mozart was a huge fan of fart jokes.
Lots of people have a hard time believing that. They're like, "What? No, he could. No, not a man of high art." Yeah. I mean, I can't say some of the stuff like the lyrics I was about to go in, but yeah. So that gives me a good chuckle when I have to like convince people like, no, people have been making fart jokes for a long time, and like Mozart writing songs about that kind of stuff. So yeah, sadly I don't find a lot of attempts at humor, modern attempts at humor, very funny, which is a shame because I love laughing, but I think it's just because I'm too analytical.
I don't think you do. All right. So your answer was silent films, historical fecal matter,
No.
and a book
Wife of Bath, Chaucer, hilarious.
That
I think
sounds
it's
great.
Wife of Bath. I might be thinking of a different chapter, but I think it's
Well,
that
I'm
one.
sure
There's some
all of our
hilarious stuff.
listeners are gonna eat that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess every answer is gonna be answered by a historical event. Oh, he doesn't have hair. Well, this reminds me of how the big wigs became a thing,
Hey, I have to talk about what I know and what I love.
like comedy.
And especially because, no one's here to walk away. In real life, they can just walk away and be like, oh, yeah, I'm sure that's really interesting. And then I got to go update my Twitter.
They can turn this off.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. All right, so anyway, this in the podcast, you have to list it in categories, and so there's no category of two brothers just talking, or even like a category of like nothing. So this podcast is listed as comedy.
What have I become?
So you
The
can
very thing I swore to fight against.
podcast and comedy. So so you can add this show to the list of comedy
My
that you
comedy
enjoy.
shows. I'll have to. It's just been so long. Like I'm
I'll hook
thinking.
you up.
Surely I've seen like a funny movie, but it's hard to find a really
Movies
good
are
comedy
hard.
movie.
For me, actual movies are okay. So my
All right,
thing.
here's Simon. Have you been influenced by? Do you watch comedy or whatever comedy shows?
Thank you.
Oh, and that's another thing. Late night shows I despise.
yeah.
Those are not funny.
yeah, they're not.
I'm sorry. All right,
Um,
but that's just those are all quick little disclaimer, if I may, for all little Timmys out there. Little Timmy, if you love watching romantic comedies, go ahead. If you love watching stand up, please do. Please do not let my opinions sway you. Find something you enjoy. It's okay to like it. We can like different things, and that's just okay. Simon.
All right. Well, anyway, I guess we'll end with the short answer. I love comedy. I absolutely love it. I'm kind of a comedy snob in a way. I listen to romantic comedies. That's rough. I don't think I've ever seen a rom-com that I've ever liked before. Most movies aren't funny to me, or I might find a scene in one of those movies funny. But on a level, I agree with you on all those things because most of the time it's really hard.
Oh,
It's-
you over here found history. Well, actually,
I was
that's
reading,
actually pretty good.
I was reading the scroll, and it's really funny because history is, history's a joke.
So, what format do you prefer?
Comedy specials and podcasts. So, I do watch like F is for Family, which is an animated show. I do watch Rick and Morty, which is actually pretty funny. I would consider a comedy, sci-fi comedy. As far as like actual comics go, my biggest influences would be Bill Burr, Chris D'Elia, Theo Von, which I saw his Dark Arts tour, which was really great.
Dark Arts.
Yeah,
Harry Potter.
that dark art hitter.
I have no idea who these people are.
And I like, I don't actually like Joe Rogan's comedy that much. I think it's because I listened to so much of his stuff, him being serious for so long that it's weird to me. I like Brendan Schaub, and I think Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle are my two favorite comedians ever. But because I do like some of Richard Pryor's comedy. And it's just interesting to see how it changes throughout the decades, Richard Pryor probably being one of the best comedians of all time, if not the best.
Well, I guess I will have to give these people a try.
I love so actual show of like skits and stuff. I do like Whose Line Is It Anyways? That's more of like improv comedy.
Oh, yeah. I
Um,
think I've seen a scene or two of that, and those were some talented blokes, if I remember correctly.
yes. Good chap. They were very talented blokes. Yeah, that's I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I mean, I like as far as podcasts go, Chris D'Elia's podcast, congratulations, I like a lot. This past weekend, Theo Von Two Bears, One Cave. That's Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura. I don't really care for like Bobby Lee or like Ari Shaffir as much. I mean, he's all right, but Joey Diaz is another really funny one. So,
All right. Well, there you go. Lots of names. So we'll have to check them out together, audience.
but I heard about a book one time that's
Hey, we'll see if.
what?
All
What was
right.
that?
That was our. That was just our robot butler there, making sure, letting us know that we had some new mail. We just got this question in, as you heard from the tone. What's this?
I don't even know if I pick it up on the mics, but that was awesome. All right, so this is anonymous. What's the most dangerous thing you ever did as kids together that your mom doesn't know about? So, Alex, you're an intelligent bloke. If you had to guess who wrote this email, who do you think wants to know who sent this?
Mom? Mom, is that you?
I'm not your
Mom!
Gee, I don't know. That's crazy.
I am not. I have many faults. I have many flaws, but one of those, I'm definitely not rash. I do not rush into things. I'm not prone to rushing into action. That can be a bad thing because then I'm not getting rapid lightning speed pace things done. But it's also a good thing because I don't make rash decisions. I knew that things like rules, while some of them were nonsensical or arbitrary, were there to protect me. If Mom had a rule, hey, don't play with fire, I thought it through. Why would we not want to play with fire? And I knew I didn't want to
You
end up.
thought of those things?
Yeah.
Oh.
I unless Simon pulls something out that I totally forgot about, I cannot remember doing a single like dangerous thing as a child.
No, not that like Mom didn't know about. I mean, we were like 11 and we biked.
It says that your
13.
mom doesn't know about.
I know what I'm saying. I think she knew about them all. It's like us being 11 and biking like 13 miles to downtown Fort Worth back when cell phones weren't really a thing. What's the most dangerous thing that Mom doesn't know about that we didn't do together?
No, I can't think of anything. I don't do dangerous stuff. I'm not like motorbiking. I'm not.
Because I can think of about 12 things.
I had a friend.
In a drunk stupor, I think I could still remember like 5.
No, I'm not that type of person. I'm just not that type of person. I had a friend who was telling me about how he strapped on, he and his friends found like this unbelievably huge amount of wasp nests, and they strapped on all this protective gear, like baseball gear and stuff like that, and they were running in there and whacking at them with sticks and everything just because. And I looked at him and smiled. And I said, "You and I are two very different people." That's just. Some people like have that fire in their blood where they got to go do all these things and like break the rules. And I've done many interesting things. I've done dangerous stuff. Like, I mean, I guess you could say sparring is dangerous because you can get messed up, but not as a kid and not like clandestine. Sorry, Mom. No beef for you. All right. Your turn.
All I can think of is next month is Thanksgiving. And whatever
We're
I'm going to
be
talk
sitting
about.
at the table. Ooh, someone's in trouble.
Have you ever gone 120 miles on the freeway?
What? No. See? I never think to do that. This is why we're different.
Oh, well then, neither am I. Neither have I.
What was the story there? What's the story, Wishbone?
I don't know if it was quite 120. It was definitely 110, but I think it was 120. I was not driving, but, I mean, and allegedly, this may not even happen to me. But, you know. No, I was hanging out with this dude from high school. We'll call him RA. And
Oh
so,
my gosh.
and so, so we're driving, and he's got this hip hop music playing, and we had just graduated high school, and we're kind of feeling ourselves a little bit, and then this one car passes by real fast. He's like, oh. And then another car passes by real fast, and then he's like, oh, and then a motorcycle goes, boo, and he's like, let's go, and he just floors it. This is down, allegedly, I mean, if this happened, this was down 35 South. I mean, just blazing. I loved it. I mean, if it happened.
Need for speed.
One time I was hanging out in Northside, and I was hanging out with this dude. He was part of the, what's that gang up in Northside?
I would not know.
Can't think of what
I promise you.
But he was like involved in a drive-by against the Crips or something like that. And so, yeah, he's like, hey man, you want? He's more like, hey essay, you want to come on back? I got a silencer. I was like, you got a silencer? He's like, yeah, on my side piece, And I was like, oh, I've never seen one. Dude, those things are still really loud. We shot
I'm
some
sure.
off. Well, he shot some off into some like a trash bags or something like that, And I don't know. I started to get the feeling that maybe I shouldn't hang out with them as much. So
Good call. For all little Timmys listening, it sounds like Simon made some decisions that were a result of a lapse in judgment. Don't be like Simon.
I didn't do any of those things. I was just there.
That's true.
I
He was hanging with the wrong crowd.
I didn't like have my bandana, and like, all right, let's get this on.
We're going to war.
I like people of all races, but no, I think we'll stop on that. Those are the most tellable ones.
Wow.
So, moving on. This next one's from Xavier. He wants to know, what is your favorite gig, and also, what's the favorite gig you've ever done, and then also your favorite musical gig. So, for those of you who don't know, I play piano for a local college here, and they put on musicals, and I play them. So, I think I'll answer the first one. What's my favorite gig? I don't think I have a favorite gig that I've ever done. I've liked different ones for different reasons. Some of them pay really well. Some of them I've played with really great musicians. And some of them I've just had so much fun because it was with friends. And there's so many shenanigans that happen. But, each one has its drawbacks. One pays really, really well, but it's not music you like. And then one you play with this renowned musician, but you're just scared. It's just 4 hours of, like, questioning yourself. And I don't know. I think my favorite gigs are always just the ones I get to hang out with friends and play the music I like. I know that's kind of a cop-out, but I don't have one particular one.
He's played at some interesting venues, though. I guess
I have.
some other time.
Dude. Yeah, but the worst gigs are always those ones where you play so badly that, like, the singer or the head guy just kind of, like, feels bad for you. And he's just like, you can't win them all or whatever it is. And you're just
ouch.
like, it's kind of like when your parents aren't mad. They're just disappointed.
I'm just
it's
disappointed
the worst, right?
in you.
I was like, don't cry, just yell, that affects me less. But then my favorite musical I ever did, Chicago. That was the best. That was one of my dream shows I always wanted to do. Love the music, love the musical anyway, and then also didn't mind the outfits that some of the females were wearing.
My favorite musical
that you've played?
That's a hard call. Oh, I haven't played any musicals.
What's your favorite gig?
One time I went and I played with Simon at a church. Actually, it was your church.
Yes,
your old church.
the one that I am no
That
longer
was
a part
kind
of.
of fun because you could just like goof around with each other and then just play, and it
Yeah,
was decent
easy.
paying and it was easy. So
We did. You remember the first gig we did together?
yes, it was a wedding.
It was a wedding.
And
The
they
bride
had
was
us-
pregnant. It was like $50.
I don't remember.
It was, I think, maybe total, or maybe a piece. I don't remember. But yeah, they had. This is, I think, the only gig I've ever done where I was paid to sing. I was like 13 though, 12.
And
I don't know.
somewhere out there this footage exists because they probably video recorded their wedding ceremony.
There's no
Man.
way they're still together.
You never know. Dude, that would be the craziest thing ever to see that footage.
That would.
It was a duet, a soprano duet, because that was back in the day. I mean, well, actually, how old were we?
I want to
Early
say
teens?
11 to 13. I want to say somewhere
So
around that range.
we did stuff like, I think Simon played the wedding march on the piano, and then I played some stuff like,
That's right. You
Just-
played for before they came in, and then
Yeah.
it switched off, and I played.
Just what filler stuff, you know. And then they had us do a duet, and I've never seen this musical. A duet from Moulin Rouge.
Is that what? Again, I don't know how you remember these things.
Yeah, I still, unfortunately, and this is why I hate when people waste my time, I guess, because
Asking you things.
what? Asking me things?
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, what was that thing? You're
No,
like,
I don't care. I have to ask something. But I mean, it's gonna be forever etched in my memory, and I can't get it out. Same thing with these song lyrics. Suddenly the world seems like such a perfect place.
you remember this?
Yes. Suddenly my it moves
After the
with such
ring
a
pop
perfect
thing, I'm not going to
grace.
even question whether that's the actual melody.
Suddenly my life doesn't seem like such a waste. It all revolves around you. And there's no mountain too high. No, sing out the song and I'll be there by your side. Storm clouds may gather and stars may collide. But I love you until my dying day.
I
Come
remember that.
what may. There's a tag. Come what may. Yeah. Oh man. Okay.
The weird thing was
I've
we were
never-
singing it to each other.
Well, it's not like we were facing each other. We were
Yeah,
like,
but it
it's
was
like
just-
I think it's traditionally. I don't know what's going on in the musical. Still never seen the musical, and I have not listened to Moulin Rouge or whatever it is since.
Almost 20 years.
But sadly, it's etched in my mind. I'll never be able to get rid of it unless I have a stroke. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
We have a stroke, but it only gets rid of the terrible
good
things.
stuff.
The terrible things about you. You're like, oh, this is great. That is bizarre. So, anyways, that's some gig memories.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Ugh. I need a palate cleanser after that.
Yeah, have some more of this tea.
Yeah, but Simon and I we took several years of voice lessons and we would like sing. It would be
You wouldn't tell from the ring pop that we tried to sing.
ring pop, it's a lollipop without a stick. It'd just be, man, I have to dig out some old tapes and stuff. All right,
or
next.
not. All right. So, this is from Anonymous. Hey there. Isn't there supposed to be 3 of you?
The third petty. Well, I mean, the third brother.
Right. Yeah, there is supposed to be 3 of us. We never see them.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Shout outs, miss you, bro.
Yep. Shout out to Bill Petty. You know, he's a pretty busy guy. No one really even knows what he really does.
He is a good and capable man. We will give you more info. See, because I hear if we get 50,000 subscribers, higher? 100,000? How many?
Bro, 5 million subscribers,
and we'll do
A face reveal.
a face
You
reveal.
will join us on this podcast.
5 million subscribers.
Bill, if you're out there. But yeah, you know,
We miss him and we love him.
we do. He's a lot older than we are. Like a lot older.
Oh.
So he's more, and he only comes around on the holidays, so he feels more like a rich uncle,
Oh.
you know?
See, this is what I've been caught in between. I'm the middle child, so I've been caught in between the power of the older, but what the younger can get away with.
No, I'm just saying. I don't
That
know.
dynamic is there.
He posts photos on Instagram and stuff like that. I thought he was like a used car salesman or something like that because he's always around cars. Or maybe like a chauffeur, you know?
Full reveal. 5 million subscribers. Spread the word. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
I got to say it.
But you
It's
know
our
what?
mantra.
I think he's one of those weather chasers. What are those tornado chasers?
Oh,
every time
no.
every time I see him, he's always in the rain and he's always posting about it. So I don't know because it's kind of weird.
That's true.
Yeah. But then he's always talking about other people's moms. So I think he might be a social worker or maybe some kind of like all of those. Whenever he's not chasing tornadoes,
Aquaman.
he's taking care of other people's moms. So we don't really know. I think there's another one. He's also much more Asian than us. Isn't that weird? Like, how did that happen? He's the only one of us that's over 6 foot. He's 6 foot, right? He's got to be. But he's so much more Asian. Because we're 25%. What if, like, for some reason, he's like 37% Asian?
I don't think that's how it works, sir.
But what if, I don't know, what if it's just like some genes morphed and like, you know? Because our eyes disappear when we laugh, but he always looks like he's staring into the sun. The rising sun.
It's been so long since I saw him. We need to hang out, all three of us.
Yeah. I hope he's doing all right. I'll see him the next holiday or birthday.
I'm sure you will after all that.
I'll ask him what he does. So, yeah. Oh. Do we have some etymology?
Interesting etymology. Let's go. Well, last episode we had quite a journey that we took, and I do not wish to bore anyone, so I will try to keep this one brief.
Do we have a clue as to what this one's going to be about?
No, I will not give any clues. Like I said, I will always start with the story behind the word and journey to the word. Sometimes the word will be obvious, sometimes not so much. We'll see if you can guess this one. All right, journey back with me to ancient Rome over 2,000 years ago. And there is a goddess of grain.
Ooh. That whole wheat hitter.
No. You are unbelievable.
You said a goddess, though?
Yes, a goddess of grain.
A goddess of grain. Dang.
At war with the gluten demons. No.
Oh. Wait, really?
No. So, goddess of grain, and this is going to be a deity that keeps showing up in your life events. Maybe at a marriage, maybe at a funeral, you might sacrifice a pig to her because she's also going to be helping people safely journey through the underworld. She's also associated with fertility, and life, and death.
So she's all about that frosting them flakes.
What?
The wheat?
No.
Frosted wheat?
But we are getting there. You're getting warm.
Uh-oh.
So, this is going to be a major part of your life. And she's going to be worshipped and in temples and have a cult for over 1,000 years. So, in your modern mind, this seems like immediately this trivial thing, this joke, or like Thor or Ra or any other god or goddess out there.
So she's the real deal.
Well, it's just that if you're born in like 100 AD, she's been worshipped for 600 years before that, 6 or 7, and then she's going to be worshipped for 400 years after that. So it's just this very real staple.
It's almost like 3 times as long as America.
Right. You're right. Yeah,
Ish.
Rome was around for a long time.
How? All right. I'm
So-
not gonna do math on the podcast. It's a bad idea.
So, of course, mainly associated with grain. And her name is going to be Ceres, Ceres. Although I think the Romans would have said something like maybe Ceres or Ceres because they didn't have any soft C's. So they would have said like Cicero instead of Cicero. Ceres.
Huh?
That's right. Ceres, Ceres. And that is why to this day, still, thousands of years later, when you pour your cereal in the morning.
Are you serious?
I am. I'm very cereal. When you see those grains, that ball, you say, oh, that's like Ceres. That is cereal because the suffix al is going to mean like or related to. So you're still calling your breakfast after the goddess of grain.
You know how she died?
Scythe?
No.
I
She was
actually
killed-
don't because it's been
She
so...
was killed by a serial killer.
No. That's a dad
You didn't
joke.
know that-
you're
Because
not
it
even
was
a
so
dad.
apparent. Yeah, you didn't know I was a history buff, did you?
No. It's been so long since I've read up on that mythology. I'll have to go back.
Yeah,
Read.
look it up.
Read between the lines in that Latin.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I think about. But I hardly ever get cereal, so...
When you're not
I
laughing
don't have
about 5,000-year-old fart jokes.
Out of tea.
I'm out of tea, too.
So there you go.
That was actually really interesting. And it
It-
didn't take you 45 minutes to get to the point.
I could. These are the stories we tell with a single word. There's all this history behind that. The rituals, the sacrifices, the thinking, like the ancient mind, how they perceived things, how they were trying to survive, how they were trying to appease the gods, quote unquote, when famine came or whatever it was. Goddess of grain, Ceres, Roman.
So you said Greece.
No, Roman. Greece
Oh.
would be like Demeter or... but yeah, and there's even a dwarf planet out there named Ceres. You can go look that up.
So when we talk to our cell phones, hey Siri.
I don't know what happened there.
Oh.
I don't know how they got that name or if that name's like made up or foreign or what.
When I found out that the days of the weeks are named after Roman gods, it blew my mind. Or not Roman.
Yeah, some of them
Roman,
like
right?
Saturn's,
Yeah.
Saturn's day or
Thor's day.
the moon's, the sun's and the moon's day, Sunday, Monday, and there's so cereal is a pagan reference. The days of the week are pagan references. Like it's just like infused with your with the entire language because
Yeah.
half the words we're speaking are from that culture. So there's a lot.
Did you know in Norse mythology, Loki isn't Thor's brother? He's the brother of Odin.
Oh,
But I kind of like what they did, what Marvel did to make it. This is like you and me. Loki would have driven a car.
which one's Loki?
He's
the
a mischievous-
trickster?
Well, I think he's misunderstood.
Oh, see, so that's something Loki would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Now we know.
Yeah.
And I.
Well, are you so Thor from working out?
Sorry, bro.
All right.
Interesting.
Newsflash.
Try it again.
Yeah.
Go ahead. On 3. 1, 2,
Are
3.
you ready? Wait, was that the 1, 2, 3? You're
That was
telling me
it.
on
Go.
3. Are you serious? Can you give me another count in?
1, 2, 3.
Newsflash.
There it is.
Sorry, I didn't know if the on the one you were saying 3 and then the count comes to 3.
Gotcha. So, here we go.
This is only our second episode.
In recent news, burglars lift $2 million worth of body-shaping faja undergarments. These burglars came prepared. They cut a hole through the concrete roof and shimmied down into the warehouse. They disabled the alarms. They escaped with $2 million worth of goods. The stolen booty? 34,000 pairs of high-end fajas, a Spanx-like undergarment popular in Miami's Hispanic community.
I need that.
The robbery took place last year and was only made public recently. David Oval, a Miami Herald journalist, has been reporting the story from South Florida. According to Oval's reporting, less than a quarter of the undergarments have been returned to Premier International Group, and the recovered garments are mostly unsellable. Detectives from Miami-Dade's cargo theft unit noticed black market sellers exchanging garbage bags of fajas and were able to uncover the operation.
They're like, faja. I know where the perpetrators are.
Still, the burglars behind the estimated $2 million of plunder have yet to be found. The actual people who went in and broke were never caught or identified.
2 million?
Yes.
That's a lot.
So if you're a place that sells fajas, you can get this good Colombian product for only $20 a pop as opposed to $50 a pop. And then you can sell it over 100 while you're making a pretty good return. Fajas are popular in Colombia and much of Latin America. The body-shaping garments are worn to accentuate curves, but also to aid in the recovery from cosmetic procedures like liposuction. The product is
lipo, isn't it?
maybe, I don't know. The product is also available for men.
I want to get my curves, man. So, can you do the math on that? So if you can sell it for 50 each, how many would that be?
Well, it says $2 million worth of the undergarments. So here's
It's probably wholesale.
yeah. So they said they're probably doing is selling them for $20 each, and normally they would go for like 50. So, but even if you sell 100,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
but you might have only made them for like $3.
Oh yeah. Well, the
You know.
company. I mean, I'm
So
sure the
I don't
company.
know if that's what they're valuing it off of. So imagine, where was this?
This was Miami, Florida,
Ooh,
and there were 34,000 pairs of these.
oh, so that's how many?
Yes.
Why didn't you just tell me that? I was trying to do the math on
I
it.
just saw.
So think about it. Let's do a little bit of role playing, okay? Because I don't know if you knew this, but Alex was actually in a play one time. He was a fawn. He was a fun fawn. He was very fond of being fun. So, all right. So I'm gonna talk you into stealing underwear.
Are you?
Hey, essay.
Yes.
Is that what you gonna? Is this you playing you?
I say, sir. Well, you said you didn't assign me a role. I need direction.
Okay, you're my lynchman. I'm obviously.
I think you mean henchman. You cretin. Oh my gosh.
That's what it's called? A henchman? Wait,
My God.
lynchman? Which one is it?
It's a henchman.
Henchman. Hey. Hey, essay.
Yes.
Hey. Have you ever heard of faja?
Oh yes. I'm currently seeing a girl who wears faja. I'm enjoying it very much.
Hey, essay. Does she, need an extra pair? Or 30,000?
Oh my gosh.
Come on, we just only have to do this once. All right? I know you have a comfortable life. I know you, but think about it. We just do this once.
But
and
I
then
finally got my big break. I'm gonna be a
this
dancer.
is our big break. But, people like dancing when, they got big curves and stuff. All right? This is our break. If we do this, just one job. what could go wrong? They'll never catch us. Bada bing, bada
Which
boom.
they didn't. Yet.
And they're like, ha 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 ha. We got away with it. You'd be the worst henchman ever.
It's crazy. I guess you don't even think about that. The average person doesn't even think about the products. Like, what product would you steal in bulk? What would be the easiest? What would be the biggest ROI?
And you'd have to figure out how to put that back on the market.
Without getting caught.
Just a bunch of creepy dudes being like, hey, I've got these
Hey,
really...
kid, want to buy some paws?
All right. Well,
Interesting.
yeah.
All right. In recent news, walrus sinks Russian Navy boat while defending its cubs. Humans have long known that it's inadvisable to mess with Mother Nature, and as a group of researchers from the Russian Geographical Society just learned, it's also apparently inadvisable to mess with the mother walrus. The scientists were aboard a Russian Navy tugboat known as the Altai on an expedition to the Franz Josef Land archipelago in the Arctic Ocean. This week, right before the unusual human-animal interaction occurred. They boarded a small rubber landing craft and were en route to the shore to study its flora and fauna when a female walrus attacked, sinking the vessel.
We had a war with these dudes. How did these guys fend off the Germans for so long?
During the landing at Cape Heller, a group of researchers had to flee from a female walrus, which, protecting its cubs, attacked an expedition boat, the Russian military's Northern Fleet said in a press release.
You know someone was executed over this. You know Vladimir Putin was just like, what? Can you imagine being that guy who's like, I don't know how to do a Russian accent. Do you?
Yeah, comrade.
Okay, I'll be Vladimir, and you have to tell people.
No.
You have to tell me what happened.
I'm done role playing with you.
Comrade.
No,
No, it's
nothing was happening. Everything was okay. There were no problems. Hey.
Can you imagine? Like, you have to radio in.
A small problem, comrade.
We've been it.
Andre, send backup immediately.
There might be more.
They may be approaching from the south.
You always think about the Russians being like Hunt for the Red October, or just being like these tough guys, and like having all this like technology and stuff, and like prepared to go to war with them. But I think we can take them because we may not have walruses, but we got seals,
Oh, no, there you
Navy
go.
seals.
We could not
Someone
hold.
died over that.
We could not hold the lines. the
That
Russian.
shows you socialism doesn't work.
Oh, of course.
That's
The Russian military appeared to be flying a drone above a group of walruses on a nearby beach to take scientific photographs, which may have spooked the animal.
What does that even mean?
Igniting its maternal defense instincts. What?
Why would you need to take a bunch of photographs
For research.
just in case to see the powerhouse? If they were all went against the whole Russian Navy,
Reconnaissance.
spying on the enemy.
Serious troubles were avoided thanks to the clear and well-coordinated actions of the Northern Fleet servicemen, who were able to take the boat away from the animals without harming them. According to National Geographic, walruses near the Arctic Circle can weigh in at as much as 1.5 tons, reaching between 7.25 and 11.5 feet.
What? Because because I don't know what a ton is. Ton is 500 kilograms. So
A
that's
ton
like,
is 2,000 pounds.
oh yeah, half a ton is 500 kilograms. 1 ton is
So
Thousands?
it's 1.5, so it's 3,000 pounds.
Oh my god.
So you got to box or grapple with something that's 3,000 pounds potentially, 11.5 feet tall at its max, and you're in their territory. You're in the water.
Yeah.
While these animals are not naturally aggressive, they will use their massive tusks to defend themselves from larger predators. Larger predators? What's larger than that?
Russian U-boats?
We will not be made fools of this time.
Dude, those things are just elephants of the sea.
The elephants of the sea. There you go.
You know, you have tuna.
You should be their new marketing. We're gonna rebrand. You know that Russian attack didn't really look good for your image. We're gonna paint you as the elephants of the sea.
Yeah, whoever did tuna was pretty smart. Chicken of the sea.
That always struck me as weird.
Yeah, why is tuna chicken of the sea? It doesn't taste like chicken. Doesn't not smell like chicken.
It was close enough, I guess.
You didn't read any historical books to give us the answers to any of that?
No.
Well, aliens. All right.
Last one. British authorities scramble to find stolen solid gold toilet.
Okay.
British police have arrested a 66-year-old man in connection with the theft of a solid gold toilet from a palace west of London.
Is that what you're doing at 66?
My whole life has led to this. 66.
See, this puts
Wow.
what I've done to shame.
But see, now it doesn't sound so bad. Speeding down the highway. At least you weren't out stealing solid gold toilets.
Allegedly. Just think about that. So, you're someone's grandparent. Okay. Some kid's like, Grandpa!
Your son comes to pick you up. What? You can't do this. So we have to take a. What is he in for?
Yeah, any inmate, no one's going to mess with you. Someone's in, I'm in for murder. Someone else is in, I'm in for, whatever. I'm in for stealing the golden toilet. Talk about a polished turd.
The toilet, titled America, is a work of art by the 58-year-old Italian artist Maurizio Catalan.
Yeah. I've heard of this.
It had been
That's another thing of where, all the Europeans were like, oh, America's so terrible. America's this, America's that. I'll tell you what. America, this is what America is to me. America. Number one at the Olympics. America has the best universities in the world. America.
Out of the 100 top universities, 50 of those are in the U.S., so I guess that's fair to say.
That's right. And they are professored by non-Americans. But America. You know what? When the world came crashing down on the Europeans, who answered the call?
Back-to-back World War champions.
That's right. And that's why I think the moon should be announced as the 51st state of America. And you know what? When I went over to Paris, the people I went with were like, no, try and learn the language, try and do this, or try and do that. I think about my grandfather, God rest his soul, and how he fought for this country and for Paris and France. Because Paris isn't a country, but France is. And you know what? I think that buys us at least 150 years of being able to speak English in all of the wait.
Americans.
I was trying to think of the, yeah.
We are saddened by this extraordinary event, but also relieved no one was hurt, the statement said. We are grateful to our staff for their rapid and brave reactions. The thieves used at least 2 vehicles to accomplish the task. 2 vehicles. They broke in overnight and left the scene around 4:50 a.m. The toilet, worth by some estimates up to $1.25 million, was connected to the plumbing of the building, so you could actually use it. As a result, its removal caused extensive damage. This is the Blenheim Palace, where Winston Churchill was born. They thought no one would be able to steal it because of the plumbing. So they weren't going to guard it. America was installed as just one part of an exhibition of Catalan's work. Before it was stolen, visitors could book 3-minute appointments to use the golden toilet. The fact that America could actually function as a toilet was key to its message. Nancy Spector says, the curator, the fact that this is very welcoming, inviting for anyone to use, gets to the heart of a lot of questions around exclusivity in the art world and museums in particular. This notion of having a very intimate, private experience with a work of art, and a work of art that speaks dramatically about its own value, is fascinating on many levels. No. Here is the great equalizer with modern art versus ancient, Renaissance, Victorian era art, whatever art you want to pick from. Here is the great equalizer. Firstly, skill. If Simon, as much as I love him, if Simon spray paints a milk carton blue and that's it, and he says, oh, this is, this adequately conveys the torment in my soul. Maybe it does. And if he has fun doing it, awesome. If he wants me to laud over it and pay $2 million, no. Because 8 billion people around the world can also do that. Now, how many people can carve Michelangelo's David? Can 1,000 people do that worldwide? Are there 1,000 skilled stone carvers out there who could build an 18-foot statue? Is it a little bit more, a little less? Now all of a sudden we're talking about something way more complicated than just drizzling a bunch of paint on the wall. Now, just so you don't think I'm a classicist snob, that same kind of skill level is present in some modern art that's very abstract and, this is just tangles of metal and glass beads, whatever it is, but the actual construction and making sure everything is balanced or whatever goes into it is there. There's a really, really high level of skill. So that's one thing I always bring up, skill level. Another thing is originality and pioneering. So you have to give them credit. Mondrian painting the squares. Oh, here's a blue square, here's a white square, here's a red square. We take it for granted now, but there was a time when that kind of hadn't been done before, that design. Pablo Picasso drawing every aspect of everything. We take it for granted now, but there was a time when people hadn't experimented with that. So you do have to give credit to the pioneers, but there are some bad and some horrible hack modern artists. I'm looking at you, Yoko Ono. And of course, there were bad ancient artists too. People dig stuff up and they're like, oh, this guy really wasn't that skilled. So it's a people thing. It's not a, the glory days were better thing.
Well, that's cool. About 10 seconds into that, I started thinking about why Subway sandwiches are called Subway. Like, is that just because of the brand, like a Kleenex thing? Or is that because you would get that if you're about to go on the Subway? But let me say this, though.
We'll have to address that on next week's Interesting Etymology.
Subway. I'm just glad that if you made countries' toilets, ours is golden and the best. That's what I got out of your speech. Is that what you were trying to say?
Exactly. I'm glad. Yes.
Moving on.
Well, it'd be amazing to have $1 million to drop on a creative project
Like a toilet?
as an individual, because this is like an individual artist who just works on their own projects, etc.
Yeah. I say next World War we just kind of hang back.
What? How did you?
Dude, this guy is another European that thinks they're just better. Hey, newsflash, I've been there. They're not that great.
But as you know, we cannot just judge a whole group based on one individual or one interaction.
I don't know.
Because you have a sample size of one here in this article, one person you disagree with. Whereas there are other Europeans that you probably would see eye to eye with. To all the little Timmys out there, does Simon need to expand his views and be open-minded? Does he need to realize that there might be some good friends out there? Yes. And that's the news for today.
Wow.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Well, that was cool.
You mentioned Subway. I'm wondering if Jared is still in prison.
I don't know. Yeah, that was kind of a shift. Yeah, I don't know.
Ugh.
He should be.
I still can't get over the idea of being confined to a room. I mean, obviously you go to mess hall, but just, okay, this is your life for the next year, 5 years. And like a 3-year sentence doesn't sound that big, but man, you got to stay in one building for 3 months. Oh, I'd be so ready to get out of there.
That's what the university was for me.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Yeah, the weird one is when they're convicted and they're sent to death row, because sometimes it takes like 15 years for them to, or longer, and it's just like
Yikes.
every day you're like, oh, I don't know.
And, well, they have a general sense of, well, I mean, sometimes things are in limbo, obviously, but they have a general sense of how the case is moving, potentially, and also they're told their date in advance. But I know in Japan, they don't tell you.
Ugh.
So you're, like, locked in there on death row, and, like, any day they could just come knock on your door
And that's it.
and grab you. Yeah. Because I assume in their mind, they're like, well, we don't owe criminals, itinerary.
What about those people who,
Yikes.
yeah. So if you go in at 30 and you don't get out till 60, I mean, so imagine you're just now getting out of jail and you went in 30 years ago.
I can't imagine that. And especially some people
So
say
you went in at 1989 and you're just now getting out.
from the 80s to now, and of course the technology would be such a huge shock. Can you imagine? Like no internet, no...
Well, they have internet in there, right?
1989? Oh, well... in
No,
the
I just mean
library.
like you'd
Well, I
see
mean,
glimpses of it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, depending on how high security it was, but yeah, don't see.
Or those who get thrown in for 20 years and they're like, oh, actually DNA,
Oh,
You're-
that's so hard.
you're not
That hurts.
the killer or whatever.
It's like you can give me.
Oh, here's 50 grand.
it's
always something.
Oh, and by the way,
It's always some kind
you
of.
can give me 50 million, but I'll never get 20 years back. Oh, that is criminal.
Okay. Would you, for $1 million, would you go to jail for, without like the risk of getting shanked, 2 years?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You wouldn't go to jail for 2 years to get $1 million?
No.
Why?
Because what's the most
Think about how much reading
Right.
you could do.
what's the most precious thing?
Money.
No.
Oh.
Wrong. This is good for all little Timmys listening out there. Are you listening, Timmy? Listen up.
Give me another chance.
We gotta remember we have younger viewers here, impressionable youngsters.
Yes,
like
that's
the
true.
Stumpers. What is the most valuable thing of all? As a
people
resource. Well, let's go with resource
Being
wise,
feared.
not people. It's time.
Oh.
You want to fill in the blank? Do you want to go help out your
You're
parents?
insane.
Or do you want to get better practicing piano? Or do you want to go track something down? Go have an adventure?
You could
want to
have-
build a business? Whatever, blah, blah, blah.
You wanna have no responsibilities for 2 years and get paid $500,000 a year?
Freedom and time.
Okay,
Those
non-taxable.
You can't buy that. This is why I don't work an office job. I could go work an office job and I could do 10 hours a day and I could get paid 3 times probably what I'm making now. And I would much rather have the time and be doing something
You're so
interesting.
insane. 2 years.
What am I gonna do with all that money? What would I do with that?
Whatever you wanted. Tax free
Tax free.
in those little debit cards.
No.
Wow. Okay, a year.
A year for $1 million?
Yes.
Oh wait, you said 2 million. No wait, 2 years for $1 million.
Yeah.
So a year for $1 million.
A year for $1 million.
I don't.
I'm so invested in this question, like it's really an option,
Well,
and I'm kind of mad at
it's
you.
Like so, like all society would know. So it's not like some sort of FBI cover-up deal. Like people would know that I wasn't a criminal. They would just know that it was like a bet or something, right?
They wouldn't know.
They would know what?
Like
They would.
they
know?
wouldn't know that you went in.
Oh, so it's basically I just disappeared. I was traveling, quote unquote, for a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like a national news story where your name is like people throw stuff at you they see in the streets. The fact that you're having to think about this blows my mind. $1 million? I know it's not like
I don't
$1
need-
million and then I'm gonna buy an island. I know $1 million isn't what it used to be, blah 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 blah. Inflation. But still,
That's like saying
you could write a book about it.
That's like
And then there's $2 million.
I don't want to go to jail. I
don't wanna go to jail.
This is like someone saying, "Oh, Simon, I'll give you 1,000 pianos if you." You don't need 1,000 pianos. You only need one.
I would sell all of them except for one.
No, I'm pretty. I mean, the things I want to pursue.
You could do with $1 million. You're right.
No, $1 million won't. No, that doesn't interest me.
So, does having $1 million interest you? Because then you give you the freedom
Not
to like
really.
travel.
If it did,
and-
I'd be working in an office job.
Well,
but
continued-
that's a sacrifice of time. We only get one life.
You're still working
I don't
though.
want to sacrifice the time, but not nearly as much. I'd be working 3 times as much when you consider my current job versus that 60-hour work week.
Well, you're insane.
No, I just have different priorities.
I'd give like 30 years for like 10 grand.
Oh, I thought you were about to say I'd give some to charity. I'm like, oh, so I'm pulling the charity card. Do it for the children.
Yeah, you just don't like kids.
I just don't like kids.
There's this lady I know that I'm always doing that kind of stuff too. I'm always like, but it's the
Like
opposite.
hypotheticals?
Yeah, but it's always because you know the whole thing. Oh, you don't like children.
Would
It's
you
that
love
kind of
me if
thing.
I was a cement mixer?
No. So like, check this out. So I'll be like, hey, we'll call her Sarah. Why not? So I'll be like, hey, Sarah, do you think people with handicaps are like should be treated as equals or no?
Oh, no.
And she's like, and rightfully so. She's like, what? I'm just like, just people with handicaps, like physical disabilities. Do you think they?
Is this someone you're seeing?
No.
Are you giving this person intentionally hard moral questions just to throw them for a loop?
No, she'll be like, they're not morally difficult. It's pretty clear we should treat.
Well, no, I just thought you were going to make it more complicated. Like, well, what if on this railroad track.
No. So this is what I do. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, so you think people like in wheelchairs and stuff, we should treat them as equals? She's like, yes, of course. And then she like looks at me. I'm like, well, yeah, me too. That's what I think. And then when one of her friends is around and she's kind of like near us, I'll be like, hey, did you know Sarah thinks that we shouldn't have handicap parking because she thinks it'd be better to treat everyone as equal and like all this stuff. And then she gets super mad.
Oh, the unintended implications of her assertion.
You know.
Well, I'm glad you're out there forging those bonds of friendship
Yeah.
and trust.
And then sometimes I just wonder
Why no one? Well,
why I'm all alone. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit more cranky just because, you know, I've been holding back on my vices. It's been sober October.
sober October.
We're 24 days in, 25 days in.
What all are you giving up?
So,
This is like secular Lent, I guess.
yeah, that'd be a good way of thinking about it. So, me and some of my friends have collectively put together a list. So, it's no alcohol, no cigarettes, no, you know, all sorts of things that you shouldn't do.
Don't do drugs, children.
Yes. So yeah, there's a whole list of things that we're not doing. I'm personally not like eating out.
You're
or at
working
least
out
not
a lot more.
I'm working out a lot more. So there's also things I have to do. So I post this thing on Facebook saying, "Oh, this is a list of things that we are going to do. A list that we put together." Kind of implying that I thought that it was kind of implying that different people struggle with different things. We're all giving up different things. And so,
Then people started messaging him
man,
about his.
my cigarette addiction that I don't have.
So someone else was giving up cigarettes.
Yes. Someone else, several of my friends were giving up cigarettes, which I think is awesome. And I think that's like probably the hardest part of the challenge. But I keep getting all these like people saying like, I'm so proud of you for giving up cigarettes. Some were like, oh my gosh, I didn't know, but here's a health article. Like, this is what can happen if you give up.
Some
Like, don't
nicotine
stop
patches.
believing. Yeah, this is my story of when I gave up. Some other people like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to try and give up cigarettes too. We can keep each other accountable. So I am... I'm hoping I can make the rest of the month. I've done 29 years of not smoking cigarettes, but the next week or so, we'll really see if I can finish it out strong.
It's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. People. Excuse me. Excuse me. Past
Well,
my bedtime.
it is past 10. So
People's reading comprehension is not up to snuff, I guess you could say. Which, when I was a young, impressionable youth, I was surprised about the financial aspect of having a nicotine addiction. Because I guess what people always push is the health effects, like, oh, you're going to have cancer and a hole in your throat and everything.
right.
But
It's expensive, man.
this guy was like, oh, I'm trying to quit smoking. I'm like, oh, yeah, I just want to live longer. He's like, no, man, I want to have some money to spend. And I was like, and he goes, because, okay, let's do the math. Okay, carton every 3 days, 2 cartons a week times 4. And then I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And the same thing with people going out for drinks too. So
Yeah. I mean,
hopefully everyone's saving a lot, I guess, who's doing with Sober October.
I've literally been with people who have blown their entire paycheck on a gig before the gig is done. On just alcohol and then buying drinks for other people and all that stuff. So
They should have gone to jail for a year or two and collected $1 million.
and then you keep clean. You only use cigarettes to trade. That's the deal.
To trade.
But yeah, man, Sober October.
How do you feel?
Oh, it was easy. I kind of forgot about it for the first 4 or 5 days because I don't really drink much. But I kept getting texts from these people who were like bailing out. Yeah, one of them is this guy named Riley. I think he has a problem, but yeah, I mean, like 3 days in, he was off the bandwagon. So,
If we get
R.I.P. Riley.
okay. For those of you still listening and still watching with us,
Which is probably not that many.
man. Well, I do this for you, the therapy aspect. For those of you still listening and watching, if we get 50 subscribers, I will post the video of Riley behind the scenes at work. He had kind of a meltdown, probably the stress. He hurled some Mexican and good Mexican food too. This was Chipotle. He hurled it across the hallway, and I have video evidence. I will post this.
Yeah, he is.
Accept the challenge. Share.
He is a little bit, irritable young man, but he's definitely made some poor decisions in life, and now he's a country guitarist. But
shots fired.
But
well,
no, I'm
that sounds more lucrative than a jazz musician.
Well, so is selling drugs, Alex. But we don't condone either one of those things.
Oh. Good luck with the Sober October. Hang in there.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's good. I've also been doing my yoga, my Warrior 1, my Warrior 2, something trees or some kind of, I don't know.
I think I've only done yoga once or twice, maybe 2 or maybe 3 times total. Not really into it, not my thing, but I felt very good afterwards. It's undeniable. It's I highly recommend it to someone who's having like back pain or like wants to slow down or
feel really good afterwards. That's not Alex's thing. He doesn't like feeling good. He doesn't like comedy. He doesn't like to laugh. He doesn't like to feel good.
I love laughing, but I just don't find it.
I like the pain. It reminds me. If I feel the pain, I know I'm alive.
Emo Alex.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting.
That'd be great. That's what you should be for Halloween.
Emo Alexander.
So you could just be yourself. So anyway,
would I need to dye my, get some really long hair in front of my eyes?
No, you could just be yourself.
Wear all black?
I think you've been in character for 30-something years. So anyway, this podcast is actually up on the iPod.
What is it?
Apple iTunes extravaganza actual podcast app. So we already have some 5-star reviews. We need even more 5-star reviews because, man, once all the people I've seen recently and all my exes and stuff like that, once those 1-star reviews are going to start flooding in. So we need to
we need to counterbalance
thousands.
All your coworkers. Riley, now that you've been dissing him, he's gonna be like, "Oh, guess what, Simon? 1-star review."
Knows. He knows he's got a problem, but just all my exes,
all my exes live in Texas.
That's hundreds and hundreds of 1-star reviews. So we're gonna need to bump those numbers up. And also, thank you for subscribing on the YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that and the bell. Leave a thumbs up and a comment. You can ask a question about us. If you have a question about a relationship that you're in, a question about a friend's relationship, that way you can laugh with us. Go ahead and drop one of those.
Job advice.
Oh yeah.
Life advice.
Oh dude, especially
now we don't guarantee how good the answers are, but it'd be interesting to talk about.
We're gonna do great. But together we have 60 years of living experience.
Well, you
we
could
don't
say
remember.
Over because we're not technically even at 60. We're over.
Are we?
So you can say over 60.
So our math may be off a little bit. Don't ask any math questions. But we have over 60 years of living experience. We don't remember the first 5 years of either one, some more like 50 years of living experience. The first 10, we're kind of on autopilot, but we can help you. We want to help you. We want to give back. So much was given to us.
Simon will probably make some side remark. I will probably try to make a decent.
I'm just going to tell it how it is. It's how we do it on the streets.
Whoa.
We race hard.
Apparently we do.
We're packing heat.
No, we're not.
Silenced.
Oh my gosh.
The only silencer is me. I silence my haters. Well, this was good. I thought, we learned a lot. We learned about that Wheat Woman series.
Oh man.
Yeah. She got that extra gluten. You know what I mean?
And I suppose next episode you'll be giving us more of an update on your job, because when last we left, you were telling us about the beginning of joining up at your church gig. I assume there was more to follow.
Oh yeah.
More drama, etc.
So I told I left and I gave my 2 weeks notice, and then I had, a million people come up to me and be like, hey, what's next for you and all that stuff. Why are you leaving? Make sure you stay in a good church, all that stuff. So at first I was just like, oh yeah, and I started like telling them, well, I just need to, do blah. But then I started telling everyone that I was starting a cult. So if anyone's interested in being an elder, I'm starting this cult.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. All right. In the next episode, I think I'm going to start talking about the worst Thanksgiving I've ever been a part of. It's my first ever Friendsgiving.
And people who might have had issue with you at your former job.
Oh, yes. Next week, the Ballad of Woody.
You doing anything for Halloween?
I'm teaching.
Me too.
Which means
Teaching
none of
those
my
students.
students are going to show up.
We'll just have to party together.
That's right.
We teach at the same school.
We were never allowed to trick-or-treat when we were kids. So I've actually never been trick-or-treating.
Did we not? I guess I'm trying to recall. Sure, there must have been like 1 or 2 Halloweens where we went up and down.
No, I don't think so. I think we always went to the fall festivals at church. Yeah.
The costumes were epic, though.
They were. All right, I'm about to fall asleep. I think we need to wrap this thing up.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you learned something interesting about history and about ourselves, too.
Yeah. You just had to answer one of those questions in life. How long would you go to jail for $1 million? Go ahead and write that in the description or the comment below. You know what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I'm actually curious about that.
Yeah.
Yes, comment below, because am I an idiot? Would you go to
Well, we already know that, so you don't have to answer that.
Would you go to prison for 2 years for $1 million? No.
So here's your choice. You
There's
can
no
either
way.
go to jail for 2 years for $1 million,
Or live a normal, happy life.
or
Normal, happy.
go to jail for 2 years getting $500,000 each year.
No way.
So let us know about that. That'd be really interesting. So,
Thanks very much.
all right, this was fun.
Have a good night.